Hello, my name is Alan, and today I'm facilitating a session, first of a two-shot playtest session of Against the Neon Conspiracy. This is my own hack of my own game, Against the Dark Conspiracy. If you're interested in that, check out itch.io or DriveThruRPG for Gallus Games, Gallus, Games, Games. And, have a look. So yeah, this is taking that kind of burned spies against supernatural threats and casting it into the future to a cyberpunk world. And we're gonna see whether it's got any legs in that form. Did I say my pronouns are he, him? I should have done. They are. We are playing today with a set of safety tools. So we're playing with lines and veils, and I'll just, could I ask everyone to mute? I'm just getting a bit of feedback from somewhere, I think. Check out the lines and veils tab. I made a start. I noticed some people have added some in. If there's already a line in there, up them to a veil. A line is stuff that we won't include in the fiction. A veil is something that may crop up in the fiction, but will appear off screen. Not in the full glare. And I'm not interested in describing processes of torture, for instance. If you are particularly interested in something, then by all means add the interesting tab and we'll tag and we'll try to build that in. There are certain things this game makes it difficult to avoid because of the way that characters sometimes interact with one another and with those around them. So it is quite difficult sometimes to avoid tension or intimacy between PCs or between PCs and NPCs, verbal or physical abuse between those. Drug, alcohol abuse is quite difficult to avoid sometimes if that's the way that people choose to relieve their stress. So those are things that it is difficult to line. Possible to veil, but very difficult to line, just for reference. What else do I want to say? So yes, lines and veils. We're also playing with the X card. So if something comes up in play, I've played with all of these players before, so I'm not going to describe what the X card does. If you as a viewer don't know what it is, please look it up. The X card, the best way to display it, show it to me that way. If you're uncomfortable with that, then bung it in the chat. And if I don't notice it, other players, please draw my attention to it. And that'll just pause the fiction. We'll work out how far back. I won't ask what makes you play the X card then, just enough to know when to go back in time to play forward and avoid that uncomfortable material. And if something comes up and you think, no, I'm fine with that, but later on it comes up again, you think, actually, I'm not fine with that, just because you didn't play the X card the first time doesn't mean you can't play it subsequently for the same kind of material. So, just because you let it through the net once doesn't mean it's there forever. We're also playing with an open door. So if something goes on in the real world, please go deal with it. There's life and there's games, and life, generally speaking, is important enough to have some of our attention. But also, if this turns out just not to be fun, the open door is there to be used. If this isn't fun, don't waste your evening staying. And we will debrief at the end using a kind of stars and wishes. And we're also playing with our community code of conduct, which I sometimes summarize as don't be a dick, but all of these people are experienced members of the community, so I know I'm not dealing with any of that. So I think that's me done. Let me ask the players to say hello and introduce us to their characters and just tell us something about them. And then I may come back with some questions about them. So I'm going to go in order of character keeper because playtesting a game, I've got other plates to spin. So left to right. Will, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Tower.
Hi, my name is Will. My pronouns are he, him, as are those of Tower. Tower is a, I think that Tower's the face. Tower's is a hustler. Tower is, I think, what's the twist, like the fragile remains of, or he used to be, of a union man there in the future. He was never didn't come up through the workers. He was just a good rep. He always had people's back. And then that's when the suits came after him. And they took so much of tower that there was barely enough for it to stand after they were done. But luckily, he was picked out of the trash by his tune Willie Justice, a ripjacker who patched him back up and got him back on his feet. And yeah, that's when Tower learned that basically, you can. They're not playing. The rules aren't really rules. The game is rigged, and you can try and negotiate, and all the corps, all the suits, all the deals that they make, they only count for the special people, not for the workers. And so he's gonna do his best to find a good crew, win a bonanza for the people, and take down some of these Zaibatsu shits while he's at it.
Well, yeah, I noticed you just edited out Passion After the War, because the last time I ran a Cyberpunk game was in 1998, in the aftermath of the Fourth Corporate War, as it happens, long ago in a galaxy, in a night city far, far away.
I have been playing lots of Cyberpunk 2077 to get up to speed for this. So, yeah.
Thank you. I'll come back and ask you a question in a bit. Sabine, let me come to you next. Say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Spider.
Hi, my name's Sabine. I use any pronouns. I'm going to play Spider, who also uses any pronouns. Spider is an assassin. Spider doesn't care about pronouns, because why would they really? What's the use of that? Anyway, yeah. So they're an assassin. That's what they were grown for, right? Some sort of that. At least that's what they were told by some corporate people, guys, things. That was, of course, not legal. So when it came out, then it was like, what? We don't know about these experiments. Go on, experiments. Do something productive with your life. Maybe become I don't know, maybe make some AI art or something like that. So yeah, okay. So there they were. All they could do was shoot people or kill people. And these are remarkable skills, as they learn from their mentor, Griffin, who I think also uses they. No, Griffin uses, yeah, they have pronouns, right? And they kind of became a mentor. Griffin was more of a someone who procured services for people who needed them, right? They weren't the assassin precisely. They had been maybe in their youth, but it's not something you want to go old with, because you make too many enemies, and then you have to shoot them all. And where will that get you, right? Anyway, but Griffin was taken out or away or something. At least they went missing. They're not there anymore. Their kid is though Sphinx, and yeah, I mean, I like Sphinx. Sometimes. I mean, I do. It's compute. I'm not built for that relationship shit, right? I'm not. That's not in my DNA, not GNA. I don't know why I say it, but anyway. Yeah, I like her.
I like that. Thank you. Let's move along. Mario, say hello. Tell us about your pronouns. Introduce us to Hive.
Yeah, so hi, my name is Mario. You stated pronouns, as does Hive. So Hive is all about the ghost in the machine. It's about showing people what actually is happening, because the corporations, they took everything from Hive, right? So to the point where Hive didn't thought there was anything left worth living for, before Hive realized they could bring the war back to the corporations. And so therefore Hive doesn't want to have like an own identity for themselves. And that's why they choose Hive as a name, because they are part of a bigger war, and they are just like one entity in a fight that is already lost, but is still the only thing worth living for. And therefore, I think Hive somehow admires Spider, because Spider seems to be the most cold-blooded assassin Hive's ever seen. And Hive just wishes they could deal more damage. It's just like all about like destruction and ruining corporate people's days. So it's basically like next level of trolling, I guess. So like just yeah, like ruining all the infrastructure just for the sake of ruining it. Yeah.
That sounds like a kind of driven idealistic anarchist to me.
No, not at all, because there is no hope in this war.
Oh,
It's
I
just
see.
for the sake of damage, right? Or for the sake of ruining anything that is in the hands of the corporation, which is everything. So you don't have to hold back.
Love it. Finally, David, pardon me. Say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Kumo.
Hi, my name is David MK, he, him pronouns. Kumo I'm playing is she, her. And I'm still figuring her out. I'm sure we'll continue that. And she is somewhat of a badass. She's probably maybe 5 feet tall. Dresses really nice. And is kind of like, I see her as very introverted in many ways. But when she gets something that she wants to fight for, she's all in. And so let's see, she's genetic treatment, enforcing, Air's expertise include crush, authority, and resilience. She likes high-end things, fashion, and so forth. And why she chose to confront the conspiracy, humanity, when they found out they were doing what they were doing, I had to get involved. So I picture this as like a large community that probably went back several generations, was just completely like raised to put up a corporate structure. And so all that history, all that culture, everything has been completely wiped off the map. And she's one of the few people that probably remembers it. And so I feel like she's fighting for the memory of a lost people. And I've been looking at the fashion and chromeware. And so I've got programmable skin and skin watch, and then also subdermal plates, rippers, olfactory, and stealth skin.
Wow. So a very intimidating, and there's something about a small woman with such confidence. That does she leverage that? Oh, sorry, they did. I missed. No, she has.
Does she? Yeah.
Does she leverage that for where that authority, that intimidation comes from?
I think leaning into her name, which is Japanese for cloud. I think it's slowly building, and then there's just a point in which it just happens. Like either she can't take it anymore, or she's just waiting for the moment. So I feel like there's like a quietness to her most of the time, and I feel like her companions are strong touchstones for her to like still keep in touch with what's important in life beyond this cause.
Okay, let me go back round to talk about Tower, Will. So Willie Dastis is your anchor, this person who you want to try and, as much as you can, protect from the corpse and not get them sucked into this morass.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me why you chose to confront the Neon conspiracy.
So as I've been seeing other people's choices fill in, I've been rephrasing this to make sure we've not got all of us motivated by revenge. But now I've gone for the lighter version of it. It is faith. I believe in something that drives me, but the conspiracy threatens. And Tower believes in the people. Tower believes that people matter, that despite the masses and all of those things, that we're not just a stepping stone for the corporate suits. These are people, that they live and breathe and that they matter. And nothing could offend the corporates more than thinking that your contract could be a shield rather than a shackle. And that's why they tore him to pieces, and Willie took him back, put him back together again. And that's where Tower thought, you know what, I'll play the game the way it's really meant to be played. And either I'm going to take a seat, we're either going to get a seat at the table, or we're going to take it all down together. So I guess what it would take for me to discard my beliefs is to find out that the fight's impossible, which then I would switch over to the more nihilistic, burn it all down around me.
So you still have hope for the future?
I still have hope that once we, that this isn't, it took a lot of effort to get things this way. It took a whole conspiracy.
Yes. Zaibatsu, that while appearing to compete, are actually cooperating to crush the common man. And
yeah, they had a word for this in the old days, monopoly.
Yeah, and that is not a game. Len, let me just check in then with Spider, Sabine. This connection between Sphinx and Griffin. Griffin the mentor, Sphinx your anchor, and occasional lover. I love it when I forget that she deserves better.
Yeah, well, she does, right? Oh, and I think Tower reminds me of Griffin a bit, because Griffin had this kind of idealism as well, for whatever reason. I don't really understand that. I didn't grow up with this hopeful stuff in my life. I was just
again not built for hope.
Not built for hope, no, but maybe, you never know. I mean, yeah. So that's why well, mostly I'm going against the conspiracy, because I think that they took Griffin because Tower says they're bad, and because everybody else seems to think it's a good idea, and I have to do something with my life because you can get rich, but what do I do with money? I mean, I buy food, and what else do I need?
Built for the job.
Yeah.
Now it says you don't know if you'd risk your life if Griffin was on the table as a bartering chip.
Yeah, I
you wouldn't know until it happened. Have you thought about the possibility?
No, I don't tend. I think he's kind of gone, right? Because that's the corporations. If they make mistakes, they usually cover them up pretty well, or they are so you can't assail them, you can't attack them, you can't do anything to them, and then they just let him go if they thought he didn't matter. But if he does, then they take him out. So I don't think he's still around.
Let me then just clarify a couple of things about Hive, Mario. I mean, it's a great picture, and someone who ghosts, to have a third eye built in is delightful. But how do you have you thought yet about how you want to conceive of ghosting? Is this mystical, or is this a technical modification?
Who can tell? Because at this point, everything is so cybered up. And I mean, if you walk the streets of whatever city we're in, right, you don't see the city and the buildings itself. It's all like with pop-up ads and stuff like that. You don't see the actual structure of a building. So I think there might be a mythical approach to it, just like in Warhammer 40K, where you don't really know how the machines work, but you have some rituals that you just know, so you can do it. I think the part that's doing it is probably scientifically solid. It's just not. It's just that the Hive doesn't necessarily know all the backgrounds why it's working.
And I'm curious then why your affectation is a vintage watch. Is that because it is clear how it works? I suppose it depends how vintage it is.
And that it's easy, right? because it's just like a bunch of like hardware that is working perfectly. That's also why Hive doesn't trust a lot of like the genetic implants and or treatments and such, and relies on actual hardware for modification purposes, because that is somehow reliable. And Hive doesn't trust the AI part, or the augmented reality part at all. That's why that's the vector of attack for Hive.
Okay, thank you. Have you given any thought to who your anchor is?
It should be an NPC, right?
Yes.
I
I mean, don't sweat it. We can come back to it.
Okay. I'll come
Um,
up within 5 minutes.
but you have chosen revenge as your motive for getting involved in this. They took my smile, my hope, my happiness. They ruined technology. They ruined life. There is nothing left to lose but those who keep fighting authorities. Well, I mean, that's a manifesto in a sentence and a half. Thank you for that. Then David, in terms of Kumo, who's your anchor?
I put down there Yang Chow of Chow Time Noodles, and I'm the #1 patron, and he's my adopted father. And so I figured growing up with him, I helped out in the restaurant chain as it was growing, and he's probably got like other family members. So I imagine him like some like Chinese or other Asian, and I'm Japanese. And so just like growing up in a restaurant business, right, and loving it, and I put that as what I do when I'm stressed is I eat. So I stress eat, and that hooks into my object of lucky chopsticks. So these were chopsticks that I carved out of remains of my childhood home when I went back there. So like a door or something like that, and it's something that you would see me using, especially if I visited one of these noodle shops, even if I couldn't get back to my home one.
Now, all of that sounds like you are not someone who is decanted from a tank in the way that I sense Spider was. Yeah, we're designed for, yes, I need another 5 of those, please. Yeah, press button A, then press button B. This sounds like your genetic modification is after childhood as a natural part of your life. I'm curious, who paid for that?
I think that there's probably some like like a Greenpeace PETA equivalent, like social justice is probably sketchy as hell. But I was probably
who else would pay for an intimidating 5-foot, punch through walls kind of enforcer?
But I was so pissed off, and I probably had some like whatever you might want to call it, reparation payment from the corp.
That's what I was going to suggest, is that like, like they were like, listen, it's a shame that we destroyed your home, your culture, your friends, your family. But here's 0.1% of what we will make off
there. You weren't there, so we're going to pay you off to just kind of get rid of you.
Exactly. It's a perfectly reasonable legal arrangement. And in fact, you'll find that in the indentured service contracts that your parents signed, it's an obligation on our part. Serve and enjoy. And I think that the backstory around how that then ties into your motive of you found out what they were doing, you had to get involved, I think is that's self-evidence for me. And everyone's reasonably cybered up, so quite how that's going to impact on the mechanics, I don't know. But I am conscious that we are 3 minutes to the hour. I'm going to suggest we take our first break now and then come back 5 past the hour and build our sprawl and then get stuck into our first job. Okay, I'll see you at 5 past the hour. Okay, so we have 4 interesting cyberpunks. Now let's see what the sprawl looks like. You are going to populate, folks, the sprawl. I'll just bring this up so people can see what you're dealing with. Each of you has a kind of a bit of the sprawl to populate. So, you know, tower, spider, hive, and Kumo. Again, I'm going to stick with that order to begin with. You need to name one of the Zaibatsus, Will, on Tower's behalf. And the way you do that is you kind of select a first part of a corp name and a second part of a corp name, or you come up with a corp name and just type it in there.
Okay, we're gonna have Cytotechnica.
Fine, Cytotechnica. And what is their primary interest?
Their primary interest is, I think, let's say engineering.
Okay. Then let me move across to Spider. Spider, do you want to create a Zaibatsu?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't, but I will. Oh, there's info. No, I'm sorry. I just go through these.
That's fine.
And I think I'm going with neuro. It's not in there, but I'm going with neuro. Oh, won't let me. And I need a second part. Sorry.
Yeah, these lists are not meant to be
I
obligatory.
know.
They are, you know, treat them as inspiration, not limiting.
Oh yeah, they are called NeuroStar.
Fine. You should be able to overtype that rather than
I
make
have,
a selection from the box.
okay.
I think so anyway. If you can't, let me know.
Yeah, I'm working on it. No, it doesn't let me. Maybe give me a sec. Now, there we go. And their primary interest is health stuff.
Fine.
Wherever I could put that, it's not in there. It's BioWare. Let's call it BioWare.
And then what about Hive? Which Paranet. Okay. What's Paranet's principal interest, Hive?
That is a good question. Let me check the list. Software. I go with software.
Fine. And finally, Kumo, which Zaibatsu do you want to add to the sprawl?
Let's see here. I think I want to look at interest first. Is there anything on like immortality?
Not per se. I mean, I suppose BioWare might be there, or you know, genetic engineering would be an appropriate perhaps choice,
Sure.
or bioengineering.
Yeah, because we're not looking at this is the public facing
Indeed
business, because you've you know, great minds, David, because I've been like, discrete interests, what could they be? Oh, all of the supervillain shit, right?
Let's see. I'll just go with bioengineering. And then let's see. Where can I type the name into?
Yeah, just where it says where it's yeah, that's the one. Corp name 1, corp name 2 is where and that should transfer across over to column A.
Okay. Nexus. Pharma. All right, you can live forever as long as you keep paying
the insurance. Great. So we have the 4 the 4 Zaibatsu that dominate the sprawl. And now each of you is going to go and create a district. This time, let me start with Spider. So there are some district names in the district drop down, or
Oh, okay.
pick one of your own.
Oh, okay. Let me go and see. Literally, no. Oh, like a university. Yeah, district common zone. Oh, I know what I want. I want a shopping center thing, like the mall. Yeah, that's kind of the name. The
This
mega mall.
vast arcology
Yes,
of
it's kind of like,
endless merchandising.
yes, absolutely. It's yeah, you can get everything there, anything really, anything.
And also select something about its status, its security. What's the kind of base level of routine security you found in Mega Mall?
Well, I think that the closer you get to certain to the center, the more upper class it gets. But I go with gentrified for now because it has patrols. Maybe not in the outest, or maybe there are some little shops that glom onto the mega mall, even making it even more mega, with that don't have that kind of security.
I think
And
that's
then there
probably
are
true.
shops who have really good security because they have very high level things. But generally, you walk around, there will be patrols, and yeah.
Fine. What about you, Hive? Do you wanna define a district of the sprawl?
Sure. I was thinking go with the university,
Okay.
and there I make it upper class corp security.
Okay. So not just rent-a-cop patrols, but someone with a bit of meat and potatoes to play with. Okay. And then Kumo, do you want to define a district for us?
Sure. Okay. I feel like unless we want to X-card this, there should probably be like a red light district or something like that.
That's
A
fine by
crime
me.
district.
You know, if is everyone okay with that?
You can just call it like a crime district. I mean, we can figure out whatever it's going to be.
Well, you can. I mean, give it a colourful name.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have a colourful name.
Oh man.
Little Amsterdam.
Does Amsterdam still exist in this world? I love it. Let's do that. Let's just go there.
I mean, this bit of Amsterdam does, in spirit, right? Like, I dread to think what happened to the Netherlands after climate change.
Flooding. Yeah.
What Netherlands?
And what kind of status or what kind of security might we routinely expect to find in Little Amsterdam?
Oh man. I feel like, yeah, elite contractors.
Oh, wow, high class.
Because there's probably some people who want to at least keep up the pretense that they're not involved in this. They probably have PR and security kind of keeping them out of the news or whatever.
Oh,
Ooh,
so it's, I mean, you know, Little Amsterdam, the whole character of Little Amsterdam just changed overnight for me there. That's just boom, you know, this is really classy now.
I'm kind of thinking like, yeah, it's kind of thinking like a Shanghai back in the roaring 20s or whatnot. But yeah, Little Amsterdam works.
Let me go back round to Tower. Do you want to create a district for us?
Sure. I think I'd like to create the breaks. Which is it's the old harbor basically. It's like the ship breaking yards and the rapidly repurposed construction yards. So it's sort of like an industrial area. I think it is lower class, but can I fiddle with it so that it's a lower class population underneath a sort of like a corporate security force? You know, because it's like they're
well,
under police kind of thing.
Remember that what we're dealing with here is the kind of blanket coverage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay then.
There may well be places in these locations with higher or lower levels of security.
Yeah, then I think alarms is actually perfect, because then it's basically it's a case of they know that the alarms are going off. Do they care enough to come out and do anything about it? Depends on whether or not it's near the work sites or whatever, right? Like,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. And now each of you is going to hang in those districts you've created. So let me start this time with Hive. There again, if you hit the drop down for the place where you hang, where in the university district might we find Hive? And there's some drop down suggestions there. Or type it in, or you might want to check out the aesthetic or the detail first and then come up with a name that you think might suits it.
I think that might be the metal haven.
Okay.
And also, I just want to check in with David, but I think I want to name the university. What was your corp name? Nexus-Pharma 3 University. So there were two before,
they
but
gave
we
money.
don't know what happened. Yeah.
Go for it.
And what about and pick an aesthetic and a detail for what the metal heaven is like. So if we go into metal heaven, what aesthetic do we discover, and what give me a detail that we can hang something on later?
Brush steel, obviously, and clutter. No, clutter wouldn't want to fit here. Sterile, probably. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah, because Nexus-Pharma like to keep their spaces clean.
Sure.
And then let me go to Hive, to Kumo rather. What are we looking at? I notice a bioorganic feng shui.
Yeah.
Is the
so
feel you're going for? Do you have a name for this?
I'm looking through the list here. I'm going to call it the tea house.
Fine.
Let's say that everything is locally sourced, like off of the surrounding environment. It's like they grow stuff off the walls and the floors and everything. It's just all natural.
Absolutely, and much of it propagated by Nexus-Pharma.
And all of the patents are owned by Nexus-Pharma.
Exactly, and yeah, feel free to pick the fruit off the walls. Can I just have your name and address for future follow-up?
Exactly, and a DNA sample.
Yeah, DNA now. Yeah, obviously, base DNA. Let's go back round to Tower. Arcade, shabby, chic, and cluttered.
Yeah, it used to be a seaside arcade before. It used to be that the industrial area was way over there, and the nice part was over there. And over time, but the arcade survives. It is cluttered with machines of various eras, and there's pachinko. There's from all over the culture. Like, it's become a sort of just melting pot of gaming, basically, and it's a good place to hang out. Lots of privacy between all the lights and the noise.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Spider, Donut Express, cozy neon. Is that pastel neons?
No, this is cozy. It's kind of, yeah, you have a lot of pillows and neon lights, but pillows and stuff, and there are cats around, right, that you can pet. So it's
okay.
Kind of cozy, kind of a place that Spider has no idea how to compute. That's why she hangs out there. But because
I'm curious. Do we? We have to have a scene where Spider is kind of looking at the cats, interacting with other people and with one another, with this kind of.
Yep.
Okay, I like that.
Yep. The donuts are edible. Let's say they are edible, not in the woozy way, just like you can eat them, and then you will have eaten something very sugary. The cats, I have no idea whether the cats are natural or not, Spider. They don't know that. They don't know cats. Some of them might be cyber cats, others might be ghost cats, who knows? The cats don't
yeah,
talk to
certainly
them.
augmented reality cats must be a thing.
Yeah.
We'll worry about individual locals later when you decide you might need to create one as a contact. But for now, there in each of these areas, in each of these places, there are a couple of people that will become NPCs with a particular skill set. I do want to try and just flesh out the gangs a little bit. So this time, I think I'm starting with Kumo. Again, you may want to pick a skill set. You get to pick name and skill set. The rest we'll discover in play. So you might want to kind of work out, and the skill sets broadly mirror that of the player characters.
Sure. I'm totally leaning into a Fast and Furious of the future as this gang.
Fine, and then give them a name, and let me go back round to Tower.
Yep.
What's the skill set of your gang, or the gang of the breaks?
The slaughterhouse, which, given that I've got "So It Goes" tattooed on my wrist, I had to go with Slaughterhouse 5, right?
I mean, is the skill set a surprise?
The skill set's time travel. I don't know. Yeah, so what do I need to choose? The skill set is what they're good at, right? That's very
Yes.
similar to ours. I
Yeah.
think the skill set that the slaughterhouse is very good at is actually technical.
Okay,
I think that
so
they're
it
very
is a
good.
surprise. It isn't violence. So all
No.
you select at this point is the name of the gang and their skill set. Everything
Okay.
else will defaults to the minimum possible. So hand-to-hand, fashion wear, and no particular kind of nothing else.
Okay.
What about Spider? I noticed you selected the vamps, and their
Yeah.
expertise is deadly.
Yeah, there are others from my trip, I guess, because we all have these vampire teeth, right? Somebody thought it was funny that we should have them, so that's why there's the name.
And about as far from that as you can get. Hive, you've created librarians, and with a research skill set.
Yeah.
So we have the Zoom Zooms and their vehicles. We have the librarians with research, the vamps who are deadly, and the slaughterhouse who are surprisingly technical.
I love that the librarians have banded together into the future. Thank you.
Inspired by the famous TV show, which Sabine is watching.
Probably was a union at some point before they all like lost their jobs, and now it's just like a cult thing.
Yeah, cult of librarians.
Cult of librarians. Don't knock it. I've brought a cult of librarians to the peak of success in Lowell's Fantasy Vale version. Anyway, enough of that. This is our sprawl. As I think I said when offline, I'm going to start with us in media res. So I'm going to tell you that on this occasion, Ms. Smith has offered you a job that you have taken. This is a job in which a fixer that she knows wants to receive offline digital files. So your contract, the contract you have signed, and the non-disclosure you've signed, and the denial of competition that you have signed, is to retrieve some offline digital files that cannot be accessed other than by direct contact with where they are stored. Where did I get to? I think that I'm probably back to Tower, I think. Tower, where are they? Which district? So on job 1, if you hit the district drop down, you should see the districts you've now created. Where do you want your legwork or Smith's briefing to have revealed the location of these files?
Oh, that's a good choice, isn't it? A person with some offline digital files. I think I want it to be at the Nexus-Pharma University.
Fine, at the university. Spider, Is there a corporate entanglement with the target, i.e. the files, or with the client, i.e. the fixer that Smith is working as a go-between for?
Let me just check something. The Nexus-Pharma are also bioengineers, right? Yeah,
well,
so
the corp is, yeah.
Yeah, but then I think it's NeuroScore who has some interest here, because they kind of they're not doing quite the same thing as Nexus-Pharma, but also are interested in living things.
Okay, then. Hive, is NeuroScore entangled with the fixer client or the target files?
I'd say the target files.
Okay, put a tick in the box next to with target on job 1. And that leaves me to ask Kumo to just be clear about the operational objective. What will success look like, Kumo?
I believe it'll look like us retrieving the discussed files intact and delivered to our contact, our client.
Delivered back to Ms. Smith. Fine, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to suggest, therefore, that where this is a facility at the university, and I'm going to suggest that it is a research hospital at the university. I'm going to suggest, given what do we know about this bit of town, we know that it has corp security, so that fits with what I've got written there. Nameless paramilitary pawns. So this is Nexus-Pharma CorpSec are providing the security here. The evidence is that there is something else going on in this hospital other than standard hospital care. It's a research hospital, which ties into the university district. So there's somewhere within this location that is the site that you're going to have to get into. So I want to start then with the 4 of you on site. I'll then give each of you a flashback kind of investigative scene, if you want it, that might flesh out something before you start the run per se. So I think I started with Tower last time. So let's begin with Spider. When do we first see Spider anywhere near the university hospital?
I wonder if I could do a preparatory scene where I could get some, stuff that goes boom. You never know, right? You might need a little something.
Well, look, I tell you what I'll do. I'll give each of you one intel, as this is a 2-shot.
Oh, okay.
I want you to have some influence on. So,
Okay.
so this could mean that you could spend that info, that intel, to flesh out one of your locals shortly, and that might be someone with the capacity to provide you with some goodies.
Okay.
So
I don't have to do that right now, right?
You don't have to do that right now. We can do that as an intel spend when it comes.
Okay, in that case, I think what I want to do is I want to. I can see pretty well in the dark, and I have inhuman hearing and stuff like that. Seems like I can just, I don't know, kind of lurk around, gripping some high rise and sitting. Yeah, lurking is probably what I do best. No, it's not what I do best. Who am I kidding? I'm lurking. I'm trying to figure out some kind of the routines of these security guys.
Okay, so yeah, I mean the stealth skin cloak of darkness, the grip digit spider climb. So yeah, I'm probably seeing you kind of clinging to the side of an adjoining building.
Yeah.
Or a building overlooking the hospital complex.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
doing. And listening into their conversations. That's a good point, because I have yeah, my ears work pretty well. So,
Okay,
you know.
well, let's have you roll to investigate to see what questions you might want to ask me about.
Where's the dice roller though? I
Oh,
mean,
sorry,
there's a picture of it. There, I found it. Recommended
Got a
dice roll is
list?
the right one, right?
Yeah.
Power Acres Wood Government heads up.
Yes. Quite why, I can't tell you, but that is what the dice room is called.
Well, you can rename them, no?
Yeah, well, another day.
Okay.
So you've got the grey dice. I
Uh-huh.
think expertise is legitimate here, the kind of fictional position you give me. Do you want to include the stress dice?
No, come on.
Okay.
Let's start easy peasy. I'll roll these two and we'll see. Oh, wow, this does not go great.
Well,
this does not go great at all.
No, that does not go great at all, does it? So that is 1 to 3. You get a minimum amount of information you need to proceed and mark heat.
Okay.
So I will mark heat. First heat of the day. And the basic information you need is that I think I will give you a sense of the patrol routines for the rent-a-cops who do front of house security. So there's perimeter security by a bunch of rent-a-cops. The CorpSec will be closer to your objective.
Okay.
But you do have a routine. You've got some idea of a routine for them. So if you want to add that to the legwork section, that would be helpful.
Okay, I will.
Let's go to Hive. Hive, what in flashback, what do we see you doing to kind of as prep for the job?
How much time did we have to prepare for this?
Never enough.
Never enough. So I probably just like sent some spam mails that if you would click the link, I would get a backdoor to some of their like low security servers.
I tell you what, then I'm going to put that down as a preparatory scene, and when the time comes for it to matter, we'll find out how well that went.
Sure.
Remember that I owe you a scene to prep for that, if and when you come to do it. Kumo, what about you? What, if any, investigative, observational, follow-up legwork did we see you doing?
So this is at a hospital?
That's the target site, yeah. Or somewhere in the hospital.
I think I'm going to get admitted as a patient.
Preparatory scene, I'll come back to that when we determine how well that goes. And then finally, come back round to Tower. What, if any, prep do we see for you?
So am I framing a prep or an investigation here?
Sorry, legwork. Legwork. Forgive
legwork. Sorry, I thought we were flashing back to the.
Yeah, but I find myself now lumbered with muscle memory.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, that's really thrown me because I was like, okay, I think what it is chatting up some of the guards in their off duties, basically like buying them drinks, showing them some cool new brain dances that I got off the Kabuki black market, and just like subtly getting information from them about what it is that they are protecting and who for, basically, like loosen their tongues.
And because you have disguise and expertise, you can tell me we are what we wear. How do you present in this?
Well, if I understand correctly, I can change this at every stage of this. So I can have a different disguise here versus the one I will have on site, right?
Yep.
So what I am originally, I'm wearing their uniform.
Okay, right.
I've come from a different shift somewhere else in the city, like hey, that Jabrowski, yeah, he's a real ball breaker, like ever since he got wed, I swear they must have cut out the empathy.
So that's a particular kind of businessware, isn't it? Which suggests authority, but corp sympathy. So I think you certainly have the narrative positioning for your expertise to count here. So I guess persuasion is the charming visiting CorpSec. So
Yeah.
expertise applies. Would you like to include the stress dice? Who wouldn't want to roll 3 dice when they've got 3 available?
Yeah, that's very true. I am on 3 stress, but it's technically a one shot, so let's, play it like a broken car, right? Stolen car. That's not the highest on the stress, it's a 5 on the expertise die.
So, what basic information are you after here?
What I'm after here is the sort of this is a corporate black site, it's secret, but then every corporation site is secret, right? But what is it, it's a research hospital, what is what is it about this job that the guards are like pretty freaked out by, or 'cause it's gotta have a dark secret, right?
Oh yeah, no one goes
yeah.
sub basement 3.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of thing. The secret's the sort of like the chatter, what it is that the guards, I think to a great extent here, what I'm finding out about is the stuff that they won't talk about, right? With someone that they think is, which can then help the others crack on a specific thing,
Exactly. So I think it's fair to say that sub basement 3 is your target. That is the place where no. Lonnie doesn't, he says, you don't have to worry about sub-basement 3. You stop people getting to sub-basement 3, but you don't go to sub-basement 3. But you rolled a 5, so you can also ask me a question. You get that for nothing.
Who which corp like dynasty kind of people are high enough to get access to it, like which group of I'm thinking not the security guards, but like the suits themselves, like who would be a reasonable third party to gain access? Like, oh, no one goes down there, but blah 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 blah, and those fucking bigwigs when they come down and throw the cash around.
Yes. Okay. Let me see. I just a plug here. I have in my hand some sheets from Augmented Reality, which is a set of random tables for Cyberpunk City. So let's see. That is 77. That is Michelle. Michelle Ashworth is the person who's the NeuroScore exec. Because we have a NeuroScore entanglement with the data. And the funny thing is that, how did NeuroScore get an exec with access to, Nexus-Pharma Uni? What's that about?
Yeah. Non-compete contracts? Like, what's going on there?
That's questions for the higher up, buddy. Okay.
Yeah, no, that works for me. It gives me where we're going. And the other thing I was going for was a
name to reference.
A plausible name to reference, a plausible way of disguise that wouldn't require me to be the security guards or the research people, both of which are thinner prospects, given I know nothing about either thing,
Fine. So we have in hand, Hive has tried to drop some preparatory backdoors into the system. We'll work out how well that went when it matters. And Kumo, remind me what prep you're looking at.
Well, I could admit myself as a patient, or
that's
I could
right.
Or I could do research with one of the librarians offsite to gain more information.
Yeah, I mean, I think in order to currently the library, you'll notice that the relationships of all the gangs and indeed all the locals their relationship with you are as snitches. So at the minute they are not your contacts. They are not
Okay.
there to be used unless you want to spend intel to improve their relationship with you.
I would love to do that because I really want librarians to be in this episode.
Okay, so
I'm gonna
so
spend my intel.
erase the intel I gave you about 10 minutes ago.
Yep.
And that turns librarians from snitches, i.e. they would sell you out to anyone who offered them resources, to neutral, which means they are available to you as a set of contacts. And now they have... Who's chief librarian?
Oh, chief librarian. I'm gonna say, let's go with pick a name that sounds Eastern European.
Okay. What about... I mean, because they're a gang, do we think that they will have
Oh,
pseudonyms?
could they be like authors or book titles or something like that? Yeah. Let's go with Orwell.
And Orwell meets you.
I think Orwell is a she.
Oh, she. So Orwell meets you
Yeah.
at Metal Heaven.
Oh, yes.
Of course, because where else would the librarians of the university district hang out but at Metal Heaven? And she kind of runs her hand across this brushed metal table and says, "Oh, I just love this place. It's just so clean."
I love their happy hour.
What do you want to know? Why are we meeting, Kumo? I mean, what's a girl like you doing at a place like this?
I think Kumo blushes. And says, I was hoping to get some information on a place in town. And I'll discreetly mention it.
Yeah, now, when you say discreetly mention, I'm just looking at your skill set. And it sounds to me like she's trying to be fairly charming here.
I think yes, I think so. I think she doesn't want to offend the librarians, right? I think she puts them on a pedestal. I don't think that Kumo had a really strong like education, but envies those who have. So I think she really wants to respect this person and to have this go well.
Okay, well, let's have you roll without expertise then, because you ain't no persuader.
All right, how do we do this thing? I have
Okay,
3 stress.
So indeed. So would you like to? Yeah, at the minute you're just rolling the grey dice. Would you like to add the stress dice?
Of course. I always say yes to that. I think she is very nervous.
Let's see how nervous.
So how does this work? I'm trying to click on things and they're not showing up like they're clicked on.
Normally, if you click on one of the dice, it'll get a little surround, which means that it's live. And then down at the bottom of the page is a little purple button with an arrow, a circular arrow in it that will cause them to re-roll. That's the theory, at least.
Huh. I'm gonna do a test roll and see if it's working. So I'm gonna click this.
Oh, there you go.
What showed up?
I can see a pair of 3s.
Okay,
Are you seeing it?
No.
Oh.
I don't know if this is not working with my browser today or what.
Just reload the room. So like I saw the dice roll, but the result didn't update, and that was because I'd actually lost connection, but it hadn't told me. So
okay, so I'm going to click expertise. I'm going to click stress. Okay, now they're both selected.
There you go.
And I'm going to hit that.
A 6 and a 1, and the 6 is not on the stress dice, despite, the nerves. How does the audience know that she's really having to concentrate, not to kind of just take the woman by the throat and say, "Tell me what I want to know before I crush your windpipe"?
I think that she is clenching her fists, like internalizing the pressure physically, because she's a very physical person. So I think like her muscles are being contracted tightly. So she's definitely not relaxed.
And for 6, you get to ask, what do you want, specifically, what do you want to know here? What's the minimum you want from this?
Okay, let me get back to the sheet. I'm trying to figure out what we as a group want to know here. Let's see. Where's the job? There's the job. Okay. I think that Kumo would have asked the other group members, okay, I've got this meeting. What should I ask her? Like, it almost feels like a date. Like, I'm going on this blind date. I want to know something. What should I ask this person Orwell about?
Any offers from the table?
We know the main door. We know the front door. What about any back doors? What about like the original plans for sub-basement 3? Like the old buildings, that kind of thing?
Oh, do you mean like a blueprint or technical readout of the
Yeah.
facility?
Well, like, this everything in the city. I don't know what we're calling it. Night City.
The Sprawl.
The Sprawl. Everything in the Sprawl is built on top of the ruins of what came of the world before, right? So what
Right.
was here before, and what might they not have fully removed, rather than,
Okay.
it's the whole breaking in through the old subway station,
Okay.
the disused subway station.
And she kind of flips the blueprints of, I think for the basic information you need to proceed, I think she flicks you the blueprints of the buildings now.
Mm-hmm.
But there will be some bits missing, which is as informative as knowing. So you know where sub-basement 3 is, but you don't know the plan of it. You get that for nothing. Yeah. And now you get to ask me 2 questions.
Are these on the moves? Or are these just
no,
open-ended?
just any 2 questions. Yeah, well, it's investigate. 6, you get the minimum needed to proceed, and control will also answer 2 questions.
Okay. I feel if this feels too much like I'm defaulting to Powered by the Apocalypse, let me know. But what is our biggest threat, or what known thing is our biggest threat?
The known threat, as far as librarians are concerned, she kind of gestures at the screen that you're hunched over, and she says, "You see the blank area there?
Mm-hmm.
That used to be a military research unit back before the war.
Wow.
And we don't know what's in there, but it can't be good."
Wow. Right. And let's see, another question might be, what, I don't know if this is obvious, about who's in control of that area? Is it the same person?
In as much as, are you looking for cross-referencing here on Michelle Ashworth of NeuroScore, or?
Yeah, trying to find out if there's someone else we should be concerned with, who might be like a more local operator.
Yeah, you need to be careful about, you need to be careful about a guy called Bravo.
Okay.
He's a contractor, and we don't know if he's a bodyguard. We don't know if he's running the security operation down there, but you need to watch out for Bravo.
Okay.
Now, you also get to mark intel. Congratulations. So you
cool.
also get something else from this conversation, which at the moment doesn't appear to have any value, but may well turn into some value later on.
Awesome.
But the downside is you also discover something scary about the conspiracy roll for stress. It is that Bravo, how can I put this? There's something about the way Bravo moves which is not entirely human. And she says, I don't mean, just built. I mean weird. Roll for stress.
Okay.
So pick a dice that you think likes you and roll equal to or less than your current stress.
All right. Come here. So just roll the stress die?
If you think it likes you, yeah.
We'll see. I got a 3.
A 3, and your stress is currently 3. So no sweat, no stress increase. So that's all you know. Bravo is weird. There's something about the way he moves, the way he behaves that is just strange. And you know where Subbasement 3 is, you know that it has a militarist research background, and you know that NeuroScore have access to it, certainly in the person of an exec called Michelle Ashworth. Okay? And we have an ace waiting to be played around, hopefully, a backdoor into some computer system that you're going to encounter. Yeah?
I'd like to establish a small detail, if this is okay, for whoever owns the librarians. I don't know if anyone in
the librarians own the librarians.
Right. Well, I'm just saying in our group. I don't know if this happens elsewhere, but I want to say, like, after, like, when we conclude our meeting, like, I get I collect a stamp. This is a U.S. I don't know if this happens anywhere, where you get date stamps on books. It's like almost like a temporary tattoo. I want one of those. All right.
Yeah, and you get up and leave, and then we see Orwell watch you leave Metal Heaven. And she looks down at the table, which was perfectly smooth brushed steel, and we see 5 indentations where you were gripping the edge of the table. Okay, so that's the setup. Legwork's done. What's the time of day that you're going to go at this? Who haven't I started with yet for a while? Let me go to Spider. Because Spider, you've done the kind of...
You've started out with me last time.
Oh, did I? Then forgive me. Let me instead go to Hive. Hive?
Yeah, that's probably not a good call.
Well, feel free to pass.
No, I just mean for the rest of the team, because Hive definitely wants to go during daytime. So worst case scenario, they have a human shield of like upper class civilians that could be between them and everything shooty.
Fine. No, that's fine. It's daytime. Let me ask, because Tower, you're the face here. How do we see Tower dressed? And are you with Hive, or are you coming at this separately? Could be a different kind of business wear, I guess.
I think so. Hive is coming in as a patient.
Okay.
No, is Hive coming in as a patient? So Hive is. I'm coming in. Hive is coming in as my my assistant, because I am coming in as high fashion. So what I am is Thomas Ashworth.
Okay. And your cover is, how are you related to Michelle?
I am her auditor, her cousin, and her. I'm a lesser cousin of the Ashworth family tree. But it's still a prestigious role, and you know, you got to keep these things. Who can you trust to look after it, make sure that your affairs are being held in order, other than your family? You know, and my cover is that I am essentially here with my, you know, lackey to make sure that everything's on the up and up, because you put on a good show for Michelle. She's too kind, you know.
Can I check in then, Tower? What's your load? Because that
Ooh,
sounds a light load kind of look.
yeah, there may be a reason I chose to have a gun hidden in my arm.
Okay. Okay, so light loaded.
Yeah.
Hive, let me ask you, are you lightly loaded like a corporate assistant ought to be, or are you claiming the need for a significant volume of equipment?
I was wondering about that. Like, are we in just for like a cut, or like, do we say we just have business that takes us just a couple of minutes, or is it something
Oh no,
where
this
we
is
Audit sounds like a significant thing.
yeah, and that's why I've
Okay.
brought you. I brought my favorite tech monkey along with me to you know, inspect everything, because I don't trust
And
anything that their systems tell me unless you tell me it's right.
then I'll come behind with two big ass hover suit cases.
That sounds like heavy load. And I suppose then my question to Spider and Kumo, Kumo first, are you are you going in with them, or are you going to try to find a different way in? Are you going in as Thomas Ashworth's security?
Oh, I can. Otherwise, I can take a different point. Do you want us to be together or separate? Because I was considering going in as the patient to get in at a different level.
You've used your scene.
Oh, okay.
So
Sure.
you don't have a preparatory in hand.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
So short of someone wounding you on the pavement outside.
Sure. I can go in as a secretary.
Spider looked up then when the possibility of
Yeah.
wounding someone on the pavement arrived.
If you really wanted to go in as a patient, you could be a test subject.
That was
Again,
actually what I was thinking.
I
No,
think
but I've
that
got- but no,
requires
no,
a
fair
prep
enough.
scene. I
Yeah,
think
okay, fair
that
enough.
ship has sailed.
How about as a diminutive, demure secretary type?
Okay, because your look is classy, high fashion, the kind of trophy secretary that
Yep.
might accompany a high-powered exec.
Yep.
So Spider, that does leave the post of bodyguard, unless you have other plans for getting in the building.
I'm not a bodyguard. Come on. I don't have the size. Nobody would buy that. You can buy a chromed up bodyguard who would actually be scary. I'm not scary. No, I think I'll I know the patrols, how they move, and I have this stealth skin, even though I can't pronounce it.
Can I
I
just say,
think
I'm hugely relieved that after we take a break in a moment, we're going to see you breaking into a hospital in daylight.
I mean breaking in. I'm thinking about sneaking in, like moving when people aren't much looking and stuff like that. Just staying in the shadows, sidling in. It's more like breaking in. That sounds so violent and
crude. No, I apologize.
Yeah. No, I'm just in because I want to take medium load at least.
Fine.
And then people ask questions why do you have this bag and what's in there? And then they're like, why do you have an assault rifle? And then then the stuff goes downhill.
So I've marked you as medium load. Kumo, the kind of classy trophy secretary sounds light loaded to me.
Loaded.
Because you have an option on how much gear you carry, light,
right.
medium, or heavy. It doesn't sound like you're packing.
No, I mean I am a weapon. So
Indeed.
I was thinking light load.
Fine.
I
So
think I'd have trouble explaining how I need the 2 heavy bags and the backpack
yes,
on the
yeah.
back of my assistants, you know.
Yeah, I think if you could split it to 2 a medium load
Right.
each, but I think that probably the way to go is a heavy and a couple of lights. So what we're going to take a 5-minute break in a moment, and when we come back, I want to start with Spider's effort to get in the building, and so we know where Spider is, and then we'll deal with Tower fronting the front desk and reception. Okay. Is back by 5 past? Is that long enough? Yeah. Okay. See you at 5 past.
But I think Oops.
Sorry, while I remember to put the recording back on.
Okay.
Sorry. So Spider, you are going to wait. The emergency room.
Yeah, that's a good point because people are usually very distracted, right, in the emergency room.
And of course, the emergency room is on the roof because everything arrives by aerodyne.
Oh.
So we're going to see you climbing the side of the building. Now, normally your wear is leathers, but you've got this chameleon skin and the programmable hair. You can become a reflection.
Yeah, like the elf.
Like the elf. And so how does that work? Do we see you in an alley nearby, peeling off the leather, stuffing them into a pack, so you can then kind of naked to all intents and purposes clamber up the side of the building?
Yeah, I need to get the leathers with me. So though.
Oh yeah, in a pack, all camouflaged. Yeah, don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Up the side of the building.
Yeah.
And then see you looking at the aerodyne pad where there's a regular arrival of these AV4s carrying casualties in, or maybe VIPs in, who knows, but coming and going all the time. And what do we see then from that point to you getting into the hospital?
I think I'll find a space where I can't be observed. Well, I like my mirror skin. I need to put on shoes at some point, but no, what I'll do is I'll commandeer some sort of beeping device that indicates things. And and then I'll just play around with it so that it starts beeping really loud. And then while this beepy thing is beeping and creating a distraction, I will just, saunter into the building.
And then see you disappear into that closet over there and reemerge, dressed. So let's have you roll to maintain your cover. I think certainly expertise is at play here because you've got all this technology working for you. So roll with expertise, add the stress dice if you'd like to.
I think I'll add a stress die. Now I've lost connection to the game server. It happens a lot lately. It
doesn't happen to me often. I don't know whether it's around which browser
it didn't used to. It didn't used to. I don't know why.
Maybe it's demand.
That's possible.
And look at that, a 5, and it's not even on the stress dice. So that's fine. This goes well, not perfectly, but well. So you are in the hospital.
Cool.
Job done. Meanwhile, down at the front desk, Tower, what's the line you're taking?
Mirror shades on, very stylish designer gear, impatiently wrapping my hands on the counter, looking disdainfully around. You
have the right look in the right place at the right time. So expertise is certainly at play here. I think I'll even give you the bonus die because you've got an entourage. But this will apply to all of you. So you're all in on this one if you want the bonus die.
Yeah, this is definitely it. Yeah.
Okay, so you're rolling with expertise with the bonus die, the stress dice if you want it. Roll the dice.
Yeah, and it's that ruse of I'm here to audit. This is my team to audit everything. I've already got the bonus dice, so there's no need. But I'm very subtly using my pheromone boost here, I think, as well.
Okay,
Because why not? I got the chrome. Use it for something.
use
right?
it.
Smell very pleasant. Like everyone's favorite aftershave.
You smell like you're in charge.
Yeah, this is the thing. Whatever it is, it smells like their authority figure, whatever they associate with that, basically. I've included the stress die. The bonus die.
You got a 6 without any of that.
Yeah.
So on a
that's
6,
great
this
success.
goes really well. So on a 6, you maintain your cover, you succeed brilliantly. What's the extra benefit? You're going to get the other 2 in without any, it's just, fine, sir. Yes, absolutely.
The extra benefit is that they buy it enough for me to dismiss my handler slash
The
whoever's
minders.
accompanying me, because like I can just be like, no, we need independent. What don't you understand about that word? Go away.
David and Joan will take you to the elevator and point you in the right direction, sir. Not a problem. Now, what is the right direction? Where do you want to get to? Where are you telling them you need to go? Is this straight to sub-basement 3?
It is, because this is technically a NeuroPharm facility, right? That we are currently in the university.
They are the sponsors of the university, though they would very much claim that this is an independent research association with which they are very proud to be associated.
Yes, I think it is straight down to sub-basement 3, because I think that is where NeuroScore, sorry, interests are really, like.
That's where Michelle gets access.
Exactly, yes. So yeah, it's straight down to sub-basement 3. I think via a series of doors where guys with mirror shades and guns, getting increasingly more obvious as we go through door by door by door.
Indeed,
Starts off
indeed.
with a stun baton. By the end of it, there's full-on tack gear and shotguns.
And when you get down to sub-basement 2, you have to get out of the elevator and physically move to a different elevator. And that's where the corporate security that you've already talked to in a way in that bar. That's tactical gear, auto shotguns, and somebody said, hang on. You want to get, sir, please sign the disclosure, the insurance coverage, please.
And I wave at Kumo to take care of this paperwork for me.
And Kumo makes some squiggle. Because, sir, you understand that once you go into this elevator and down to sub-basement 3, all bets are off, sir.
You do your job, and I'll do mine.
Roll for stress.
Yes. The look of panic in his eyes as he sees the corporate exec going down without the full platoon squad that normally accompanies them. That's a 1.
It's a 1. Job's a good one.
Yeah.
And the time it takes to get from 2 to 3 is longer than it took to get from 1 to 2. So this is sub. This is deeper than you might have expected. And you are... Spider, I'll ask you, because you're not there yet. But I'm curious to know, how are you, because we're assuming perfect comms.
Mm-hmm.
You know that the team is on its way down to sub-basement 3.
Okay.
How are you going to get down there?
They still have vents. They do still have
Of course they
vents.
do.
And you know what, so I'm using these. I like vents. Vents kind of remind me of my childhood. Like, I'm not talking about that. Yeah, no. Oh, I could get to the elevator and get down on top of the elevator from a vent. Can I do that? Is that possible?
Well, I think I love the idea that as they're talking to the guard, we have a shot at the roof of the first elevator, and there's a kind of light kind of
Yep.
And then just a shadow moving in a roof vent.
Yep.
Across the corridor to the shaft above elevator 3, down to sub-basement 3. So
Yep.
I love the idea of you riding down to sub-elevator 3. But I think I will. I'll play complication 1, which is the team is split up. Both groups can reach the objective, but they'd have to do it separately. I think I've used that in effect. And now I think I want to introduce a threat. Yeah, Spider, this doesn't feel right. There is, as you're going down, of course, you know, they're inside the metal box, but you're in the shaft. And as you're going down, you are noticing that this shaft is into the bedrock of the city, and or into concrete. But the concrete has got kind of, it looks like it's got holes bored into it, but not in a kind of organized structural way, unless, and do you want to roll to investigate, or you content just to know that? Because this doesn't feel right. You have a bad feeling about the obvious way forward. Something bad will happen unless you go around. Something is not right.
Yeah. Okay. These are holes like trap thingies, right?
Do you want to roll to investigate?
Or something. Do I want to roll to investigate, or can I investigate and avoid, or will I lose the elevator?
It's difficult. Yeah, I think that's the difficulty. Is you are riding the elevator down, and these are in the walls of the shaft you're in. You know, the size of a finger.
It could be some size of a finger. Damn it.
But you've already passed a couple.
Okay. So, yeah, I think I have a rebreather anyway, so let's see how this goes. I won't shoot into any of these, just to see if somebody cries out.
Are you going to do anything, or are you going to live with the consequence?
I think I want to investigate. Come on.
Okay, roll to investigate.
Let's poke at it. You know what I do? I throw a cigarette butt into one of them.
Okay. Let's have you roll with technical, because I think that's the nearest expertise that I can come up with here.
Okay. Yep, that's fine. I want stress on this.
Stress if you want to,
Or I mean, I feel that's pretty stressful. I also feel I lost connection to the game server again. I should go on the Slack and say, hey, because on the weekend we played a lot with that roller, and
John will want to know.
Broke out. Yeah, kind of broke down almost. There's a 6.
There's a 6. It's not on a stress dice. You guys are killing me. So on a 6, this goes brilliantly. I will tell you for nothing that your amplified hearing is picking up a noise. You know, as you're going past them, there's kind of, there's something in there that humming, buzzing, because the thing's dropping, you can't really spend time listening, but there's something in there. You get that for nothing. Now you have 2 questions.
I've got 2 questions. Okay. So first question, is it a kind of electronic humming or a living bio thing humming?
Biological.
Biological, so it's like
animal, mineral, or vegetable. It is animal.
Oh, wow, okay. Wait a minute. Have they been infested with termites or something like that?
I don't know. Do you want to ask another question?
Yeah, I want to ask another question. But a question I really want to ask is, what comes out if I throw a burning cigarette butt in there?
What looks like a very large wasp kind of backs out and kind of backs the cigarette butt out, and then comes out backwards, turns round, orientates itself. By now you've gone below it.
Okay, I will tell these guys over our comms that this seems to be a kind of wasp's nest. It's weird. Hope we have enough antitoxin, because that's a very large wasp.
That's why you're going to roll for stress.
Yeah. Yep.
Quit screwing around, Spider. We're not here for pest control.
My stress goes up.
It does. Goes up to 3.
Yeah.
But you also mark intel.
I also mark intel, right? Because I rolled a 6, and I will tell you to shut the fuck up, tower. I'm doing my job, and if you got stung by one of these things, you want to know about what they are as well.
And
Where do I
then
mark my intel? And I get a starting intel, right?
You got one starting intel. It's down on row 29.
Okay.
And sub-basement 3. Ding. Zzz. Kumo, you're the closest we have to a bodyguard in that elevator. What do you notice when the doors open that just puts you on your guard?
Okay. I'm gonna say that the ceiling has at least 3 inches of, I guess you could call it paper or something like paper made of plastic in a honeycomb fashion. Some really strange interior designer thought that wasp nest would make a great ceiling affectation.
Yeah, that's weird. It has a distinctly uneven, organic look about it. Yeah, probably not paper, probably some kind of polymer plastic, fibrous material. Yeah.
And I imagine that some of it's still wet and has a distinctive odor.
Tower. Is this when you get ask Spider to climb down into the lift compartment? Now you're about to leave the elevator, or is it your plan, Spider, to kind of remain somehow separate from but covering? What's the plan?
Oh, Spider's Spider's going to spin her web, and we'll spin their web, and we'll see where we go, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's better to have you in cover than among us. So, I will depart the
you're
lift
going to
in
stick
cover.
to the ducts, Spider?
Yeah, are there any ducts here?
Oh yeah, of course there are ducts.
Oh, cool. Then I'll stick to the ducts. I like ducts.
Thickly layered with the fibrous material that is lining the ceiling and corners of the corridor below you. And
I'm taking some of that with me. Just for giggles, maybe you can smoke it.
Well, there is, when you kind of begin to crawl, it supports your weight, so it's more robust than paper. But when you can feel this kind of vibration through it.
Feels like I like that.
Okay. I
do. I'm pretty sure it's not a good thing, but a part of me likes that.
Do you have a lie down and get a massage?
No, I'm a professional. Come on.
And so you're making your way through this. It would be a kind of square cross-section duct, but of course this stuff is layered more into the corners, so it's kind of tubular, and sometimes it gets quite tight. And you see there's bits of light coming in from where there are vents into the corridor. Hive, seems peculiarly appropriate to ask you, Hive. How are you going to find this data that you're after? What's the plan? You're Mr. Intrusion.
Yeah. So that is the point why I wanted to get in a main service. Because just the way how administration of that kind of stuff probably wouldn't have changed in all those years. There is some spreadsheet about the structure of like the data structure of their service, like online and offline, that I could access from an online server. So I just would know where the terminals would be, which one would be offline, which one wouldn't be online. And
I'll be honest with you, that sounds like research. That sounds like doing legwork beforehand to obtain a set of plans.
Yeah, that's why I said that is what the thing I mentioned in my legwork phase.
Sorry, I thought you were wanting to put a backdoor or some kind of beacon in the system that you could home on.
Yeah, so therefore I could access like spreadsheets or something like that.
To say spreadsheets are so 20th century. So what I'd like to put to you is that you've sent this worm into the system, and its job is to just sit there, just occasionally emitting a digital beep. And if it's in the right place and you can follow it, then you can track this server down. The trouble is that the data you want is not accessible from the net. So you can get close to it using this technique, but you can't get to it. So I'm thinking this is using ghosting to investigate.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That sounds good. So that means...
Or are you more interested in the local security system not knowing you're here?
No, so far we still have a reason to be here, and I think it's fine. I just want to get as close as possible.
Fine. So let
Okay.
us have you. Let's have you then. Where's it gone? Harness the ghosts. So mark stress.
Okay.
And then let's have you roll to investigate. So you're going to roll with expertise. You're going to roll the gray dice, the orange dice. You can have the green stress dice if you'd like it.
I mean, I already got one stress right now, so there's a 50-50 chance, and I'm willing to use it. Maybe I've overseen some cameras or something like that.
Let's. I mean, you don't need the dice will tell you whether it's a bad thing.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't see the result though. Do you guys see it?
I haven't seen anything change. I'm just gonna.
Okay, then I need to
No, it looks the same. I've just reloaded my page, and it's the same as it was.
I got a 5, 1, and a 4.
There you go. And the 5 is not on the stress dice, so that is success. I will tell you for nothing that you need to head down this corridor and bear to your right. That's as far as your beacon has got. And you can ask me one question.
One moment. Maybe we should resolve the 4 and the stress dice, because that is higher than my current 3, right? So I add another stress.
Oh, so it is. Yes, it is. I beg your pardon.
Okay.
Yeah, your stress is quite low, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
Or it was.
Yeah.
Thank you for the reminder. So, but success.
Okay.
Do you have a question you want to ask me about the data architecture here, or about anything else? Or about security systems attached to it, or anything else? The sense you get is that the university's data structure gets down here, but then there's a kind of fire break, an air break between it and the data you need.
So what is like, can I ask whether there is like eyes on an offline server down here, or do they assume it's safe just because it's offline?
I will tell you that there are cameras, most of which are obscured by this building, this buildup of material. There are cameras on this corridor, so somebody is able to watch you right now. I can't tell you anything about what's beyond that air brake.
Okay, so then I'll we have some secure connection, right? So I'll let the others know.
Yeah.
Where we have to go and what's the situation, and there's probably that any wrong move will be caught on camera, and there might be an immediate response. So I'm preparing myself to alter the reality of these rooms, so that we probably end up as doubles or something like that on the cameras, so they can't trace in which room we actually are.
Okay.
With the location confirmed, I will walk towards it as though I know exactly where I'm going.
I was going to say the key thing is the tower now knows where he's supposed to look like he's going.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you go down, you head in this direction, with Hive kind of under her breath saying, yeah, go left, go yeah, left here, left here, then right, then yeah, left, hang on, yeah, right. That's when you see what looks like someone hunched down in the corridor. They're wearing a cowled cloak of side, but you know, they're hunched down under this cloak. Just from the build, I think they're bigger than, you know, this is a big person based on width and the rest, but they're hood down, nothing else to see. Almost like they're sitting cross-legged in the middle of the corridor. Spider, you've been paralleling them. And, you know, through these occasional vents, you too can see this person. Or, yeah, it is. I mean, it looks like somebody sitting cross-legged in a cloak, hooded cape. What do you do?
I think I'll let Tower, maybe Tower can charm them. Who knows? Tower can charm anything. Okay, and if it attacks, then I can't shoot it.
Okay.
Shoot anything.
So do you want to declare something just in case you need to?
Oh, yeah, I want to declare that I have a sniper rifle. That's something I should declare now.
Okie dokie. So you're going in medium, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
And there might even be a sniper rifle on there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's not heavy, but it's got two thingies.
Yeah, there it is.
That's
there it is.
fine.
Job's a good one.
Yep.
And of course, because this is cyberpunk, it's a very compact, but you know.
Yeah, it unfolds like with a little mechanical clicking.
It does. And so I'm seeing you kind of sitting cross-legged, drawing a bead on this guy. Tower, what are you going to do? People still seem to be deferring to you for lead as the cover requires.
I am going to take a deep breath in using my olfactory boost. And would it be possible to investigate this figure using my augmented senses, basically?
Of course it would.
You know?
Of course it would. That's what they're there for, surely.
I don't think this provides me with expertise, right? I think it's just that I can do such a thing via scent and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly so.
So I'll remove that, but I will.
No, I'm going to give you expertise because there isn't per se a perception expertise.
Okay.
Or surveillance, I suppose. But no, I'm going to give you expertise on that.
Fair enough.
This ought to apply now and again.
And I'll include the stress die. And that is a 6 on the normal die.
Well, mark intel before we all forget about it.
I forgot to. No, I didn't roll a 6 before I rolled a 5. Yeah.
And I think what the olfactory boost gives you is that there is a scent of male sweat, high levels of testosterone, but tinged with a kind of, the smell of electronics and mechanics.
So I know he's modded. I know he's got wear. Yeah, and he's probably got a lot of aggressive boosters given his other chemical pattern kind of stuff.
You might say that, but if you want to use up another of your questions, you get that one for nothing. Do you want to ask me a question to go more specific than that?
What I think I want with the other question is actually more a case of what other scents do I smell? That this is the guy, but what's the sort of in the wash? Other forms of life that might be down here, for example.
Okay.
Or other people, but whatever you feel is
Yeah,
most
okay,
interesting out
okay.
of those, you know.
Yeah, there is it's become more intense the deeper into this you've gone, but there is a very clear smell of wax and honey.
Yeah, and there's like, you know, obviously on my heads up display, right? Like as I breathe in, there's like the readouts of what everything is. It's not like a magic power, like kind of mutant power.
No.
It's the completely digital
It
sort of on
is.
the inside. And there's like 90% honey, bees, wasps, like like crossing out on my screen, confused. And with that in mind, I hold up like one hand, and I think it's like a code that we have together of like, you know, this guy's modded, basically, like he's chromed. And I'm gonna go, hey there, Chum.
You've got another
Show me the way.
question. You've got
No,
a
I do
second
have another. I
question.
got two questions, don't I? You know what? Then I ask, what is this guy's demeanor? You know, like what is he? Is he angry, scared? Is like what I mean is like how on the edge is he? Is he will he be startled? Because he's not startled by us because we just walked up to him. But like, what's his emotional state right now?
His emotional state is highly aroused. The testosterone spikes. And you hear a kind of whir, a mechanical whir that you pin down as a minigun powering up. Would you roll for stress, please?
Sure. That's 3, which is equal to my stress.
Cool. So, very cool.
Very cool.
And he begins to stand up. Spider, you've been drawing a bead on him. What do you want to do?
Yep. Do I hear the minigun?
I think that
as well.
If anybody here recognizes a minigun powering up, it is probably you.
You know what?
I think the corporate guys, by the way, disappears the second that sound clicks, and like Spider will definitely see the blur of like, oh shit, coming from tower at the bottom of the corridor as well.
I'm shooting. I'm just shooting at the guy's head, probably.
Okay.
Or neck or something where you don't know, neck might be cybered. Head, eyes, something like that. Eyes is always good.
Okay.
Where the eyes should be.
So really. Your roll to take them out, and the object is to inflict severe harm on them.
Yep.
So you are going to roll a d6. You're going to add expertise for hand to hand. You have deadly? I think you might.
I do. Yes, I do. I have deadly.
So you can roll 3 die. You can add the 4th stress dice if you like. But I would also like you to roll some risk die. You're going to roll 1 just because he's a risk. You're going to roll another 1 because he's full Borg. And you're going to roll another 1 because he is that minigun has significant caliber working to its advantage.
Wow, okay.
So you're going to roll
4
up to 4 dice and up to 3 risk die.
3 risk dice and
3.
4 good dice. Okay. Yep, I'm rolling almost all of these dice.
It's always nice when we get close to that.
Yep. Okay, I've got a 6.
6.
But I've also got a 3 and a 2 on the
as long as there's not a 6 there, you don't have to worry about it.
There's not. There's a 5, but not a 6. 6 on the expertise, though.
So what I think that will do is you hit him, you know, straight in the middle of the hood. And do you want to inflict? You'll get a benefit for the 6. Do you want to inflict harm on him?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean that's why I'm shooting him.
Yep. So I'll give him 2 harm.
Nice.
And there's no problem for you, no stress to worry about. However, the fact that he does that there is not a kind of the back of the hood doesn't blow out as brain and skull proceeds out the back of his head is enough to make you roll for stress on that 6. Because, you know, at this range, you should have spread the back end of his brain pan some distance down this corridor.
Yeah, it doesn't faze me though. I mean, I rolled a 2 and I've got a 3 of stress, so it's like, okay, no
Kumo.
brain, no pain. Wait, what?
Kumo. You know, you see the kind of as the rounds impact as this guy stands up. He is about 7 feet tall. Because he has to be, because you're only 5 foot.
Right.
What Kumo are you going to do?
So I think Kumo, I think that we established that tower kind of moved backwards out of the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that leaves Kumo dressed as a secretary, you know, and all that. And she puts her little data pad away and at the same time like spins to gain momentum, and out pop her claws. And her intent here is to jam the gun with her claws to prevent it from functioning.
Fine. So you are going to get up close and personal with this guy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
dance.
fine. Okay. So and is there anything about this balletic move takes you across the kind of 5 steps or so that Tower got close enough to? Let's have you roll to confront. You are not looking to harm him here. You are looking to in some way disarm or discommode this minigun. Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
So you are rolling with expertise, hand-to-hand expertise. I am going to, the way I'll deal with your enhancements is I will reduce his risk to you.
Okay.
So, but you can have the bonus dice for crush, because this is about,
Okay.
damaging them.
Yeah.
You can have a stress dice if you want it. So you've got up to 4 dice going for you. You would be rolling 3 dice. He's not surprised anymore. So that makes it 4 dice, 4 risk dice. I'm going to take one of those away for your kind of wear.
So 3 risk dice?
3 risk dice and up to 4 of your own.
Okay. I'm going to roll what I think are 7 dice. All right. Let's see how this goes. Oh, I got 6 in stress.
Stress goes up by 1.
6. Yep. So I've got a 4 stress and I got a 6 in expertise.
Well, the 6 in stress will count, so stress will go up by 1.
Okay.
But that's brilliant success. So what do we see in terms of the minigun? How exactly do these rippers, kind of deal with the minigun?
So I think that they normally look like nice manicured fingernails that I probably do have some sort of skin paint so they can change colors. So they pop, like my fingernails extend out. And I just basically go in to mangle it so it can't be repaired or anything.
Oh,
and
I want more than that. I want Wolverine here. I want and there's a kind of clunk as the front end of the minigun.
I wasn't sure how powerful these, but
falls
basically
on the ground.
I was just seeing like shells like spraying out like popcorn because there's no container for them, and the gun is just in pieces.
Works for me.
Right.
So you've done what you wanted to do. The additional bonus seems to me that it is irreparable. There is nothing that is going to make that minigun work in the game time we have. But it is when you get up close and personal to him, that's when you realize that there is something distinctly odd about this creature.
Right, I've been warned about it, but I didn't know what it was.
Exactly. Bravo is in fact a bioengineered human wasp hybrid.
Yes.
Roll for. Oh no, stress has already gone up. For you'd have to roll. I already got stress. With 2 walking legs and 4 manipulative legs, one of which has just dropped a minigun or some bits of it. Hive. What are you doing?
Mark intel.
Oh yeah, do mark intel.
Thank you.
So now that the actual nearby threat is dealt with.
Well, I wouldn't say he'd been dealt with.
Revealed.
Okay. A minigun is not quiet by any measure. I just gotta make sure that I place that I mess with the reality in the room as I mentioned before. I want to make sure that security doesn't know in which room we actually are.
Let's have you, what's the best way to do that? That is harness the ghosts, and you want to maintain your cover, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, by ensuring that that the AR signals, the signals they're getting, show the situation a moment before all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
Mark stress to harness the ghosts. You're rolling with expertise. You can
I'm
have the
getting
stress
high
dice
on
if you'd
stress.
like it.
I'm at 5 stress. I don't think I.
Why?
So that is, I've got the expertise, right? So I got
Yeah.
like 2 dice on expertise. Any risk involved in this?
No.
No. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna re-roll.
A 6.
1 and a
Will
6.
you guys give this man a break? So this
No.
goes perfectly. You also get an extra benefit.
Oh, perfect. I want to get control over the security system.
I'll give you
That's
that.
possible.
Make a note of that because I will forget.
Yeah.
You've got controls over the kind of data feed, the visual audio feed. Yeah. But that's a 6. So you mark intel. Great. And then you roll for stress. Do you want to seek relief from the horror before you roll for stress?
6 stress means I'm out, right?
You break.
Yeah, then I'll definitely want to do that. Just let me. On which move page is that on?
It's tab seek relief.
Revealing some of your history,
Okay.
or yelling some abuse at someone is the typical way this is done in combat. Yeah.
I'm gonna read over it if that's okay.
That's fine.
And answer it in after the next move.
Okay. Tower, you threw yourself out of the way. What do we see you doing?
I think we're here for a job. This is an unexpected complication, but Kumo's got this. Spider's got this. You know, that's what we bring him here for. Hive, I can see is like imagine like the visor or the code running in. I can tell that you're jacked in basically at the moment, right? You're dealing with stuff.
That third eye is just,
Yeah. I think if it's okay with Hive, I'd like to basically grab Hive, like leaving them to while their mind is occupied, right? I will grab their body and I'm gonna hustle it down the corridor past while Kumo holds them off, because like we're here for a job, right? And that data is there. And I'm just gonna yell.
That sounds like flee for your life from this scene.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is
it cool to bring Hive with me though? I guess.
Well, I mean, one of the options is you leave something behind.
Oh, that's
so
true.
Let's find out, shall we?
Let's find out.
So the intent is for Hive to come too. I think that you chose Agile, didn't you?
No, I didn't choose Agile. No.
Right.
I chose Resilience.
Fine. Well, then I don't think that you've got any expertise to throw at this, because I don't think disguise expertise works in this context.
No, but I do have muscle grafts and myoelectric arms, which I think would aid me in this.
Yes, you do. So this is about kind of leaping past.
Yeah.
Fine. You grab up Hive and just jump.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'll give you expertise on that basis. Stress dice if you'd like.
Of course. Any failure dice on this? I can't remember.
No. This will just depend on whether you drop Hive.
Okay. That's a 6 on the stress dice. So my stress goes up. I mark intel.
On a 6, you succeed brilliantly. Control will agree an extra benefit.
Yeah. I think the
it
extra
doesn't say in the rules yet, but an extra benefit for this could be that you are safe, but you can return to the scene if you want to.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our way back isn't blocked from us, basically. Like, yeah.
Okay. Job's a good one. Now I'm conscious we're at 10 to time. So despite my effort that I thought we'd get 2 jobs done in these 2 sessions, there's not a chance of that happening. So so I'm going to suggest that with Tower picking up Hive and just leaping past Bravo, with Kumo engaged with Bravo and Spider in the vent with view of this, I would ask Spider, what is it your intention to do? What does the audience see you preparing to do?
I mean, I could shoot again, because that would be actually the best solution. Because throwing a grenade or something, I mean, Kumo's right there, and while I know that she's tough, but you know, blowing up your teammates, somebody told me that's not a good idea. Recently.
That's great, because I mean,
Yeah.
this is 2 feet taller than Kumo. So
exactly.
you have plenty of to shoot at.
Exactly.
And I think therefore we will leave this cliffhanger with you kind of, I think, maybe kicking out the vent.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I need a
draw
better
bead.
field of vision.
Yeah.
I need a better field of vision.
And
That's
then
fine.
just eyes flickering left as you hear the significant hum of a hive disturbed. There is a swarm on its way, Spider.
Oh.
So, and
See, good
that
thing
I
to have
think,
grenades.
you know,
or Molotov cocktails.
Camera will switch to the vent and kind of rapidly accelerate into the dark until we begin to see flying insects of some kind whipping past the camera towards you. And that, I think, is the cliffhanger on which we will pause this job. I will make a note of that, so don't forget for tomorrow's part 2, the final. I would like to just spend a quick 5 minutes of stars and wishes, if that's okay, a bit of debrief, just so we have a bit of time. Let me go left to right as I can see you. So, Will, any stars? Any wishes?
Stars, I really enjoyed everything that everyone brought to the characters and this, like the world building stuff. Stars for the world building stuff, the Zaibatsus, the corporations, the factions, the gangs. I would love to see, wishes. I'd love to use that intel to play around with the Zaibatsu relationships and things like that, and to maybe see how it can be used for the stuff like shift the relationship between 2 Zaibatsu by 1 step, and declare an intervention by a Zaibatsu hostile to the target corporation. So that is the like the gunship that suddenly arrives from Technocorp to gun down the AstraZeneca people as they chase you down for the vaccine or whatever, right?
For instance,
yeah. But yeah, I'd love to see some of that, the use of the intel and everything and the factions. I'd also like to see more of the Chrome in use, and another wish would be for Hive to try out the intrusion mechanic with how deep into the system, where you can use it to gain intel, I think.
Yeah. And I think that's the only way you're going to succeed in the job, is to ultimately get Hive next to that piece of technology so that they can dive into it. Fine. I think that's a certainty. Sabine, any stars, any wishes?
I do have a lot of stars. I will start out with a wish, though, because this feels like a game that should not be concluded in 2 episodes. Right? There's 2. The world creation, the setting creation in and of itself deserves a star. It was a lot of fun, and I want to see more of that. Also want to see more of these characters. They're also kind of super interesting. And these are the stars. You all created super interesting characters. I always will love tiny women who will just kick your ass out under you, like, okay, but what truck hit me now again? I really love that. And the pictures, I was like, oh my God, Hive's so amazing. Like, I like the ghosting idea. And Tower, I mean, I've played this this picture myself, so yeah. He was a bit more damaged, but okay. So yeah, and I want to see more of Tower. He seems kind of like an interesting character. So these are my stars, and also stars, of course, to you, Alan, to run this for us and not to push us to conclusion of this thing because we're at time. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you know, I think so far my feeling is proof of concept proved. But let me keep going. Mario, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, a bunch of both, I guess. But yeah, I think just with the setting creation and with the character creation this time, I don't know what the others' approach was, but for me it was just like go with whatever comes to mind and don't worry about anything because it's like a two-shot and stuff like that. And it created this interesting balance. I don't know if it's just a bit more mechanical stuff that I'm usually playing with or something like that, but like the characters seem to be somewhat fleshed out because they have their very specific niche. And in the beginning, I thought like some stuff might be overlapping, but it's not really. So I really like all the characters. I like how fast it was to create all the stuff. That felt very satisfying and well worth the time. And just the setting, yeah, some goofiness, like it's pretty much like the cyberpunk genre. There's like some tropes in there, uh, and I liked it. And there was always so much always enough to just play off the ideas that were on the table. I don't even know who started the ideas, probably you with the cats or something like that, but it always snowballed and there was I had to think about something. I had to think about some things, but um that always was only because there was like a lot of ideas and I wasn't sure for which to settle in the moment. So it feels very good, very fast. Uh, I'm very intrigued, even though it's usually a bit above my usual weight in terms of mechanics. So that's a very big start.
Any specific wish for next time?
No, not really. I think what the others two said is very good, and I just want to play off whatever comes.
And finally, David, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, so I think it's been handled pretty much by everyone else. I love the setting. I love the characters and all that. I think this is working pretty well. And Alan, thank you. I mean, it feels like you've got cyberpunk in your heart and everything. So I think one wish that I would have would be like some kind of downtime, some kind of inner character relationship building, if that's feasible in the time that we have.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose yeah, there is a difficulty with a two-shot for that, isn't it? Because I what I'm now thinking is that we are probably going to manage one cycle of play and a payoff, which will have a downtime. And I have, you know, I've been wondering about whether every session should begin with a downtime to do some of that before you get into the mechanics. So the only other place to put it is in Seek Relief from the Horror, where you can flash back to scenes where you do engage with one another to be nasty to one another, which may not be what you're looking for.
You're right. I think what I'm looking for are opportunities to showcase who we are. Like I think what Maria had mentioned earlier, like who we are as a group, right? Not just like our cool features, but how we interact with each other. And I still think that the other option where we can kind of seek relief is fine, but I don't think that's exactly what I'm looking for.
No, I'd agree. Whether we can do that much of that in a 2-shot, I don't know, but I think it is something that's in my head. Stars for me, thank you for, you know, kind of throwing yourself at, you know, what is a pretty rough, you know, structure at the minute, and going with the, yeah, cyberpunk applies here. No, cyberpunk doesn't, cyberware doesn't apply here. I have to say, I have not thought that through. But I certainly, it felt like it was 1996 again. Thank you.
The way we're doing the cyberpunk stuff is pretty much how I imagine the magic in Against the Fey Queen. You know, like does your enchantment, does your you know, deal with the Goblin King help you here, or doesn't it help you here? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's what I imagine. It needs a little bit more fleshing out than it currently exists.
1996 was a good year.
It was a very good year.
That was a year when I played Shadowrun and hated it. So
I never played it. Got all the books. I was definitely Cyberpunk 2020. You know, was where my heart lay. Anyway, I'm going to stop the recording there.